I think whether it's in the field of IT or any other field, as long as we as a country, as a company, as a society provide equal opportunity to both men and women, I think that solves the problem.
Hello and welcome to a whole new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host Kimberly and we are really glad to have all of you join us today. On the show, we talk to CX and technology experts from around the globe. We explore, uncover and share fresh insights on creating experiences that your customer will remember and look forward to. Engati is the world's leading multilingual, no code digital CX platform available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as the top platform by Inc. magazine, Tech World, CIO magazine, and many others. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 4,000 visitors annually. And now for our very special guest. Harita Gupta is the country head and India Global Head Enterprise Business Service Sutherland Global. She holds over 25 years of experience in managing large teams, global customers, and P&L responsibility. Harita is a results focused senior manager who sets high standards for her teams and leads them to success through a diligent approach. She specializes in conceptualizing skills, customer handling, operational excellence, and people management. Welcome to the show, Harita. We are so pleased to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly, for having me.
But before we dive into our amazing interview with Harita, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content coming from thought leaders from around the globe. Well, Harita, let's get started with our first question. While IT firms race to bring digital transformation, can they recognize how resourceful AI ops can be?
Absolutely. If you look back, right, I think over the last couple of years, business operations have become very complex, right? And the need for enterprise IT organizations to manage the speed as well as the scale at the right cost has become very, very important, right? Now, as most organizations modernize and they look at how they want to incorporate automation into their IT ops strategy, one of the new, let me call it buzzwords because Gartner talked about it in 2017 is AI ops, right? And AI ops really is all about bringing together the digital transformation from whether it's cloud to DevOps to agile to low code, no code, or the Internet of Things. All of this helping you to transform your app operations to deliver results 24/7. And it's interesting that AI ops as a concept talks really how about leveraging all of the big data, all of the AI ML, essentially to improve your IT operations. And the bottom line at the end of the day is how do you improve your IT operations, which gives you higher customer satisfaction and higher returns. And I
Yes,
can talk a little bit about how it works, but back to you.
yes. So, talking about customer satisfaction, customer support, how can
Mhm.
conversational AI be a valuable tool for optimizing sales and customer support?
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? Because at the end of the day, what are we doing, day in and day out? And I look at the pandemic, right? Uh, at every day when I wake up, I'm sort of reimagining the journey of my employee, correct?
Correct.
And as a consumer organizations are reimagining the journey of their customers. And when you reimagine that journey, it's not about saying that, I'm going to use conversational AI or I'm going to use bots or I'm going to use a live agent. No, it's not about that. It's really about defining what are the two or three precise use cases that you will implement tomorrow morning because of the low code, no code ability that you have today. to be able to change the customer experience. So I've always looked at, the customer journey or my employee journey with small bits, and what is that one use case which will make the difference.
Yes.
That gives you the answer.
Yes. So, how do you think, or do you have any tips or tricks as to how, like looking at how COVID has actually changed how businesses have spanned out? Do
Right.
you have any tips and tricks as to how you can stay top paced even in this changing dimensions?
Absolutely. So, just like you have a platform in Engati, we also have an omni-channel platform, right? Now, it's fairly easy to implement an omni-channel platform, right? You've got your customers calling in, chatting with you, sending you an email and all kinds of, and social and integrating all of that. The key factor is how do you integrate all of that? How does your analytics and AI layer really have a 360-degree view of the customer, which tells me that even before Kimberly calls me, I know she has a problem, right? And so really shifting left from a reactive support to a proactive support is the way I look at it. Let me give you a very simple example of just what happened this morning, Kimberly.
Yes.
For the last, two weeks, I've been trying to order dog food for my for my new pup on Amazon.
Mm.
And Amazon has this feature in Amazon India which says, you can order the dog food and you'll get money off if you do a pay later scheme which goes through your bank.
Correct.
So last 2 3 weeks, I've been trying to use that feature, and I go and it goes to my bank, ICICI, and it's supposed to validate me as an account holder, and then come back to the Amazon website and take my order. And guess what happens? Trust me, for the fifth time it failed today, right? And I keep testing out stuff to see whether it'll work. I could have done a cash on delivery, but I said, hey, let me check this out. Now, in my mind, when I look at a company like an Amazon or an ICICI Bank, that the fact that Harita's transaction did not go through for the fifth time, right, itself is a proactive case of AI ops saying, hey, why don't you resolve it? There's obviously a problem. So it's only when you start looking at your data and looking at your customer experiences that you can fix things. Otherwise, technology, is just there.
Correct. Very well said, Harita. So, you've spoken about this very subtly. I would like you to go in details and tell me how should businesses go about in creating a roadmap for digital transformation, and how should they align and put together distinctive innovations across various platforms and geographies.
So, one of the things we believe in Sutherland is that you've got to journey map with your customer, right? It's very hard for me to sit and define, or for an Engati to sit and define what the customer needs.
Correct. Yes.
Right? So I think journey mapping is very key. And what journey mapping does is really help the customer even articulate their thoughts. For example, define what are the engagement channels that you want, right? Because it really starts with a robust engagement channel, a very secure way of capturing the data from the engagement channel, analyzing that data, and then defining the use cases on how action needs to be taken, right? And often, I think one of the biggest challenges is how do you integrate with legacy systems,
Yes.
right? And while the no code, low code approach is great at the front end, I think platforms that really build those connects with legacy is what we need today till we really migrate onto a true, AI driven platform which is independent of legacy systems.
Correct.
And I think you guys have done a really good job by integrating with. And I was looking at your website with Salesforce and Zendesk. So yeah, that's the way to go.
Yes, very true. Talking about another very small, not I would not say a complication, but I think a small roadblock here is personalization. See,
Mhm, mhm.
every customer has their different set of things. Like even if you and me have a common liking towards something, but you would prefer something else, and that would be different for me as well. So
Yeah.
how do you take personalization into our journey maps here?
So, even when you personalize, remember you cannot personalize to 100% of the population, right? You will define persona types,
Correct. Yeah.
correct? And the minute you define your personas, and there will always be the long tail. But if you can cover, I would imagine about 70% of your personas, and then build your AI ops roadmap across those 70%, I think you would have achieved a lot. Let me put it like that.
Yes, you've said it, you've put it very well. How will digital transformation of B2B enterprises be carried out? What problems ought to be tackled here, and what is the complexity of those difficulties?
So, I think just like we say, charity begins at home. Let me talk. So, when you look at B2B transformation, how we look at it in Sutherland is how do we as an organization transform ourselves, right? And let me take an example of an IT organization. And let's talk about Sutherland's IT organizations, right?
Yeah.
In the past, IT organizations continue to operate in silos, right? So you have the cloud, you have the serverless infrastructure, you have the network, storage, multiple tools managing the health of the services that we are providing to our 50,000 employees. And at the end of the day, IT just drowns in all this disconnected, redundant data, and we're not really able to service our customers. Now, when you look at AI ops, right, and where I'm leveraging the true power of analytics and machine learning, one of the great platforms we use is ServiceNow, right? And there are three components really that make a difference. The first is how do you monitor, right? Because if you don't monitor, you really don't know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And by monitoring, you can identify the root cause if there is a failure. Now, monitoring, could be proactive as well as reactive, and it's really important that when you're building this B2B robust AI infrastructure, look at the proactive and the reactive side. And so one is the monitoring layer. The other is, how do you engage, which means that once AI ops consumes and analyzes all the data that is being generated in the organization, and you identify the root cause through machine learning algorithms, through various prediction models, it's important to ensure that you're working towards zero defect, right? And whatever resolution steps you're doing, work towards a zero defect. And
Correct.
that's really how you create that engagement within the organization. And the third part is obviously, a lot of incidents may not require human intervention at all, right? So how can you automate a lot of scripts, runbooks, uh, release automation? All of that is something that AI ops can do for you. So definitely, I would say, three ways. The one is how do you monitor and really know what's happening where, what is the root causes? How do you engage and use AI ML or algorithms to suggest could be proactive and leading to zero defect? And the third is, how do you create humanless interventions to resolve the issues in real time, even before they occur,
Yes.
right? And all this leading to, of course, a faster mean time to resolve. Does that help?
Yes, yes, it does definitely, and I'm sure you've put it in a very easy way because everyone talks about AI and machine learning and data science to be a very complex thing, right? But if you go to see, you've put it in a very subtle way, and I hope this is going to benefit our audience as to learning simple components of how this functions. Then, on a different note, Harita,
Mhm.
where do you think it's time to rethink women's leadership in technology? What do you say about this?
To be honest, I don't think I should inspire everyone. I think it's all self-driven. But I was last week at the Women in Leadership Forum in Delhi, right?
Correct.
And one of the things that's really important to the forum and to me personally is equal opportunity, right? Now, and that works for both men and women, right? I think whether it's in the field of IT or any other field, as long as we as a country, as a company, as a society provide equal opportunity to both men and women, I think that solves the problem.
Yes, I think you've brought it down to the most simple way, and I'm sure we're going to open our minds even more on this topic. Thank you so much, Harita. Your insights were really valuable. Is there anything else you would like to share our audience with? Do you want to summarize? Is there any golden rule you would like to give our audience?
I would just say that, you can see that I have a lot of years of experience and uh, I've done a lot of new things in my career. So every 2 to 3 years, I've done something new, right? And I would urge each of you to keep learning. I mean, there is no limit to learning. And don't ever get scared by the buzzwords. So when AI ops as a buzzword came, I was a little worried. I said, oh my God, I don't even know machine learning. I don't know how to code anymore. And I thought, hey, I don't think I can understand this. But that's not true. Anyone can learn anything. So have that faith and keep learning.
Yes, I am sure our audience is going to, start believing in themselves and, take everything in their hands and not just be scared and worried as to, oh my God, I don't know what this means and what that means, and I'm just going to be left behind, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Harita.
Thank you, Kimberly. And I wish you all the best.
Wish you the same. We'll be back again with a new episode and a brand new expert. So stay tuned and we'll see you around for the next one.